A former casino surveillance operator just revealed the shocking extent of player tracking systems that major gambling corporations use to monitor your every move. This information could change how you gamble forever, and it's exactly what casinos don't want you knowing about. Tracking system number 1, the Players Club card. What casinos market as a generous rewards program is actually one of the most sophisticated data collection systems ever created. You probably think you're getting free hotel rooms, complimentary meals, and cash back just for swiping a plastic card. According to former casino employees, that card is logging absolutely everything. Every single spin you make on a slot machine gets recorded with the exact time, the amount you wagered, whether you won or lost, and how long you sat there. Internal reports from former data analysts reveal something even more disturbing. A player we'll call Frank thought he was beating the system by maximizing his comp points. He'd play for hours, collect his free buffet vouchers, and felt like he was getting real value from the casino. What Frank didn't know was that the casino's internal database showed his exact profit margin, and they knew down to the penny how much money they were making from Frank's play. The free room that felt like a generous gift actually cost the casino $42. Frank had lost over $4,000 earning it. Former revenue management employees have stated that every single comp you receive is calculated based on your theoretical loss. The casino isn't giving you anything for free. They're returning a tiny fraction of what you've already lost, and they're doing it to keep you coming back. But here's what makes this even more insidious. That card doesn't just track your gambling. According to insider documentation, the system logs your movement patterns throughout the casino, which restaurants you visit, how long you spend at each machine, even which ATMs you use. But the card is just the beginning of how extensively casinos monitor your behavior. Tracking system number 2, facial recognition cameras. Here's something that will probably shock you. Casinos are tracking you even when you're not using a Players Club card. A woman we'll call Rebecca thought she was gambling anonymously. She'd been banned from a casino downtown for what management called erratic behavior. 6 months later, she walked into a completely different casino on the other side of the city, didn't use any player's card, and paid cash for everything. Within 20 minutes, a security supervisor approached her and asked her to leave. She'd been flagged the moment she walked through the door. Former surveillance operators have revealed that major casino corporations maintain extensive facial recognition databases that are shared across multiple properties. The technology has become so sophisticated that it doesn't just identify your face. According to technical documentation from security personnel, these systems can recognize you by your walking pattern, your height, even the way you carry yourself. These cameras are everywhere. They're monitoring you from the moment you step out of your car in the parking garage. They're tracking you as you walk through the casino floor. They're recording every expression on your face while you're playing. Industry insiders report that these systems were initially marketed as tools for identifying card counters and advantage players. But the actual use has expanded far beyond that. Internal data shows that casinos use facial recognition to identify high-value targets, players they want to offer specific promotions to, and anyone who's been flagged at any other property in their network. Former employees have stated that they tracked betting patterns through facial recognition to build profiles on players who never once used a rewards card. The surveillance system would watch you move from machine to machine, log which games you preferred, calculate your average bet size, and estimate how much you were losing, all without you having any idea you were being monitored. And if you think that's invasive, wait until you hear about tracking system number 3. Tracking system number 3, RFID, chips in every casino chip. Every single chip you handle at a table game contains a radio frequency identification tag embedded inside it. Former dealers have revealed that casinos can track the exact movement of every chip across every table in the entire building. When you buy in at a blackjack table with $500 in cash, the casino system immediately logs which specific chips you received. It knows which stack they came from, how long you hold them, your betting patterns, and exactly when you color up or cash out. This technology creates what industry insiders call a complete chain of custody for every dollar that moves through table games. A player we'll call Marcus thought he was maintaining perfect anonymity by playing blackjack with cash only. He never used a player's card. He never gave his name. He'd buy in for a few hundred, play for an hour, and leave. What Marcus didn't realize was that the casino was tracking him through the RFID chips he was betting with. Internal data showed exactly how he was betting. They documented his bet spread, his pattern of increasing bets after wins, and his tendency to play longer sessions when he was ahead. After 6 weeks of what Marcus thought was anonymous play, a pit boss approached him and asked him to stop playing blackjack at their property. They'd identified him as a card counter without ever knowing his name, just by tracking the chips he touched. Former surveillance technicians have stated that this technology allows casinos to identify advantage players within minutes instead of hours. But here's what makes this particularly insidious. They use this same data to identify when you're winning too much, even if you're not counting cards, even if you're just getting lucky. According to documentation from former pit supervisors, the system flags any player showing consistent winning patterns, and management makes decisions about whether to allow that player to continue. The psychological manipulation is profound, because players believe they're anonymous when they're using cash, but the chips themselves are betraying every move you make. But here's where it gets really sneaky. Before I reveal tracking system number 4, I'd really appreciate it if you'd subscribe to this channel. Yet the information we're exposing here comes from extensive research and insider sources, and casinos would prefer you never learn any of this. Let me know in the comments, did you know casinos were tracking you this extensively? Tracking system number 4. Smartphone location. Tracking. Casino apps that you download for reservations, mobile check-in, or digital rewards are tracking your physical location even when the app isn't open. According to former casino marketing executives, these apps continuously monitor where you are, how often you visit competing casinos, and your movement patterns throughout their property. The technology uses beacon systems, Wi-Fi triangulation, and Bluetooth signals to pinpoint your location within a few feet. A player named David downloaded a casino app to make dinner reservations. 3 weeks later, he visited a competing casino across town. The next morning, he received a promotional email from the original casino offering him double comp points if he visited within the next 48 hours. David assumed it was coincidental timing. According to industry insiders, it absolutely was not. A former marketing director admitted in an industry presentation that their team knew when players were in competitor parking lots. The system would automatically trigger targeted offers designed to win those players back. But the tracking goes far deeper than competitive intelligence. Internal documentation shows that casinos analyze your location patterns to identify behavior consistent with gambling addiction. They track how frequently you visit, whether you're coming during work hours, but if you're visiting multiple casinos in a single day. Then here's the really dark part. Instead of using that data to provide help or intervention, they use it to optimize their marketing. Casino algorithms detect when you haven't visited in a certain number of days and automatically send you promotional offers calculated to bring you back. Former employees have revealed that these systems specifically target players showing compulsive behavior patterns because internal data proves those players generate the highest revenue. They're literally tracking your movements to identify vulnerability, then exploiting it for profit. And speaking of predatory practices, we need to talk about how casinos analyze your actual betting behavior in real time. Tracking system number 5. Betting pattern algorithm analysis. Sophisticated artificial intelligence monitors every single decision you make at a casino and analyzes your behavior in ways that would shock most players. These algorithms track your bet sizing across hundreds of spins, the speed at which you play, and most disturbingly, your emotional patterns while gambling. Former slot technicians have revealed that modern casino management systems flag what they internally call hot players and tilt behavior. The software measures specific metrics that most people would never imagine were being monitored. According to internal documentation from casino technology companies, these systems track time on device, which means how long you sit at a single machine without getting up. They measure bet acceleration, which tracks whether you're increasing your wagers during a session. Most concerning, they monitor loss-chasing indicators, patterns that suggest you're trying to win back money you've already lost. A player we'll call Sarah had a habit of increasing her bets after experiencing losses. She thought nobody noticed. She thought it was just her private decision-making process. What Sarah didn't know was that the casino's algorithm had flagged her behavior within 40 minutes of her arrival. But the system identified her bet acceleration pattern and classified her as a high-value player showing emotional gambling indicators. A floor manager received an alert on his tablet. He walked over to Sarah's machine and offered her a complimentary cocktail. She accepted, feeling appreciated. She stayed for another 2 hours and lost an additional $900. Former casino managers have admitted that these interventions happen precisely when players are most vulnerable. Yet the system identifies the exact moment when you're emotionally compromised, and staff are deployed to keep you comfortable enough to continue playing. The cruel irony is that the same sophisticated data that could identify problem gambling behavior is instead weaponized to maximize revenue extraction. Internal reports that have surfaced through legal proceedings suggest that behavioral targeting systems increase player value by 23 to 31%. Yet that means casinos are making nearly a third more money from players by monitoring and exploiting their psychological states. But what makes this particularly disturbing is how the technology has evolved beyond just tracking your betting patterns. Tracking system number 6. Biometric data collection. Some newer casino surveillance systems are now tracking your heart rate, your body temperature, and even your pupil dilation while you gamble. According to former security personnel who've worked in high-end Las Vegas properties, certain casinos are testing a motion recognition technology that analyzes your physical state in real time. The cameras aren't just watching where you're looking anymore. They're using thermal imaging to detect changes in your body temperature. They're analyzing facial micro-expressions that happen in fractions of a second. The stated goal, according to internal presentations from casino technology vendors, is to identify your emotional state so they can optimize what they call player engagement. A high roller we'll call Thomas was playing baccarat at a premium table. Cameras equipped with biometric monitoring detected stress indicators in his facial expressions and elevated thermal readings consistent with anxiety. Within minutes, a casino host appeared and offered Thomas a private gaming room with premium amenities. Thomas felt valued. He felt like the casino was taking care of him. What he didn't realize was that the intervention was triggered by an algorithm that detected his emotional discomfort. But a former casino executive admitted in a deposition that the philosophy driving these systems is keeping players comfortable enough to continue gambling, but excited enough to bet more. Specific examples have emerged through industry conferences where casino technology companies showcase their capabilities. Internal data from an unnamed Las Vegas casino showed that biometric tracking increased average session time by 47 minutes per player. That's 47 additional minutes of betting, best of potential losses, of revenue generation, all because cameras were literally reading emotional states and triggering calculated interventions. The most insidious part of this technology is the complete absence of consent or disclosure. Former employees have raised ethical concerns about monitoring biological responses without player knowledge. You walk into a casino thinking you're just playing games, but sophisticated systems are analyzing your heart rate variability, your stress responses, your excitement levels, building a psychological profile more detailed than most medical records. And if you think monitoring your emotions is bad, wait until you hear about tracking system number 7. Tracking system. Number 7. Cross-casino database sharing. Major casino corporations maintain centralized databases that track your gambling activity across every single property they own, and this surveillance network is far more extensive than most players could ever imagine. Former IT specialists who worked in casino data management have revealed that when you play at any property within a corporate network, every detail of that session gets logged in a master system that follows you everywhere. The technical scope of these databases is staggering. According to documentation from former database administrators, these systems contain your lifetime win-loss records across all properties, your preferred games down to specific machine themes, detailed betting pattern analysis, your complete comping history including every meal and hotel room, and behavioral flags that rate you as either profitable or problematic. A player we'll call Robert won $50,000 at a casino in Atlantic City. 2 months later, he walked into a completely different casino in Pennsylvania. Different state, different building, but the same parent corporation. Robert had never visited this Pennsylvania property before. He didn't use a player's card when he sat down at a blackjack table. Within 30 minutes, A casino host approached him by name and offered him specific complimentary amenities that exactly matched his preferences from the Atlantic City property. Robert was stunned. He'd never given his name to anyone. He'd paid cash for his chips. The shocking part that Robert never fully understood was that facial recognition had connected him to the master database the moment he walked through the door. Every preference, every betting pattern, and every dollar he'd won in Atlantic City was instantly available to the Pennsylvania property. Former marketing executives have stated that this level of data integration allows casinos to provide what they call seamless guest experiences. But the reality is far more calculated. They know your value before you place a single bet. But the data sharing extends beyond single corporate networks. According to industry insiders who've worked across multiple casino companies, that informal networks exist between competing corporations, specifically for identifying advantage players. A card counter who gets banned from a Caesars property might find himself flagged at an MGM property the same day, even though those are technically competing businesses. Former surveillance directors have admitted that there's an underground communication system where casinos share information about players they've identified as threats to their profit margins. Yet the legal framework around these practices exists in a gray area with minimal regulatory oversight. Casino corporations argue that they have the right to share information within their own properties, and there's little legislation preventing them from sharing data with competitors. A former compliance officer raised concerns in an industry publication, stating that players have absolutely no idea how extensively their information is being shared, stored, and used across properties they've never even visited. The emotional reality is that your casino activity follows you everywhere. That bad night in Vegas where you lost $3,000 chasing your losses, that's in a database. That time you got angry at a dealer and said something you regret, documented and flagged. Every casino you visit for the rest of your life potentially has access to your complete gambling history. And you have almost no way to know what's in those files or how it's being used against you. But here's what makes this even worse. Tracking system number 8. Social media integration. Casinos employ dedicated teams whose entire job is monitoring social media to gather intelligence on players, and they're using that information in ways that cross serious ethical boundaries. According to former marketing directors who've worked in casino social media departments, staff members actively track player posts about gambling wins and losses, planned casino trips, and personal life events that might indicate changes in financial circumstances. The tactics are sophisticated and deliberate. Casinos search for posts mentioning their property names, they monitor gambling-related hashtags, they track photos taken on casino floors, and most disturbingly, they analyze personal life events that might make someone more susceptible to gambling. A specific example emerged from a former employee's testimony. A regular player posted on Facebook about receiving a significant promotion at work. 2 days later, he received a targeted offer from the casino for high-limit table game access with enhanced comp rates. The timing wasn't coincidental. The marketing team had flagged his post, updated his player profile with the income change information, and triggered an automated campaign designed to increase his betting limits. Some casino mobile applications explicitly request access to your social media accounts during installation. The stated purpose in the terms of service is usually vague, something about enhancing your experience or personalizing offers. The actual purpose, according to former digital marketing employees, is building comprehensive psychological profiles that extend far beyond your gambling behavior. These profiles can include your relationship status, your birthday, and family members' birthdays, your job and career trajectory, your hobbies and interests, and even your friendship networks to identify other potential players. A documented case that came to light through a civil lawsuit involved a woman who posted about her divorce on social media. Within a week, the casino she occasionally visited increased their promotional offers to her by 40%. Former employees admitted that the marketing algorithm had flagged her divorce as a significant life stressor, and an internal data showed that players experiencing relationship difficulties had higher response rates to gambling promotions. The predatory element of this practice is obvious and disturbing. They're systematically identifying moments of emotional vulnerability in people's lives and using those moments as marketing opportunities. Another former marketing analyst revealed that social media integration had increased promotional response rates by 34%, according to internal metrics. That number represents real people experiencing real-life difficulties being targeted with gambling offers specifically because they're going through hard times. And we're getting to the final two tracking systems, and these are the most disturbing examples of how casinos use surveillance data. Tracking system number 9. Real-time loss threshold monitoring. Casino surveillance systems have evolved to the point where they're monitoring exactly how much money you're losing and calculating the precise moment when you're about to walk away. Former slot technicians have revealed that sophisticated algorithms analyze your play to determine what they internally call your pain point, the specific dollar amount, where you typically decide you've had enough. But the technical implementation is remarkable in its invasiveness. According to insider reports from casino data analysts, these systems track your current loss rate against your complete historical session data across months or years of visits. The prediction model uses artificial intelligence to calculate when you're within $50 to $100 of your typical quit point based on your previous behavior patterns. Now, what happens at that critical moment is where the manipulation becomes explicit. The system triggers automated interventions that are carefully designed to keep you playing past your natural stopping point. Free play vouchers appear on your screen. Drink tickets print from the machine. Casino hosts materialize next to you with offers that feel spontaneous, but are actually algorithmic responses to data thresholds. And a player we'll call Jennifer typically left the casino after losing about $300. The system had learned her pattern over 17 visits. During her 18th visit, after she'd lost $250, a slot attendant appeared at her machine with a $25 free play voucher and a complimentary drink ticket. Jennifer felt appreciated. She thought the casino was rewarding her loyalty. Plus, what actually happened was that an algorithm had predicted she was 12 minutes from leaving based on her betting deceleration and historical patterns. The intervention worked exactly as designed. Jennifer played for another 90 minutes and lost an additional $180 beyond her normal threshold. A former slot floor director admitted in an industry interview that the explicit goal of these systems is extending time on device past the natural quit point. Yet internal metrics that have surfaced through legal discovery show that intervention at predicted quit points successfully extends gambling sessions in 67% of cases. The average extension is 43 minutes. The psychological manipulation inherent in these systems is staggering. They're using your own behavioral history against you. They know your limits better than you know them yourself. And they're deploying calculated interventions at the exact moment of maximum vulnerability. Former employees have described feeling deeply uncomfortable watching these systems operate because the predatory nature becomes impossible to ignore when you see it functioning in real time. But the final tracking system is so controversial that several states are now considering regulatory action. Tracking system number 10. Addiction indicator monitoring. The most disturbing revelation about casino surveillance is that gambling corporations actively track behavioral patterns that are clinically recognized as warning signs of gambling addiction, and then marketing departments use that exact same data to target those vulnerable players with increased promotional offers. According to former responsible gaming employees who've worked in casino compliance departments, the monitoring systems flag specific problem gambling behaviors with remarkable accuracy. The software tracks frequency of visits beyond statistical norms, time of day patterns that suggest gambling is interfering with work or family obligations, ATM usage on casino property, especially multiple withdrawals in single sessions, bet acceleration patterns where wagers increase dramatically during a session, and extended gambling sessions that last 6 hours or more without significant breaks. Yet the fundamental contradiction at the heart of this system is profound and disturbing. Casinos maintain responsible gaming departments that are supposedly dedicated to identifying at-risk players and offering intervention resources. Those departments use sophisticated monitoring to flag problem gambling indicators. But that same data feeds into the central player tracking database that marketing and operations departments can access. A documented case that emerged through whistleblower testimony involved a player we'll call Michael. The responsible gaming algorithm flagged him after detecting he'd visited the casino 11 times in 14 days, made multiple ATM withdrawals during single sessions, and showed significant bet acceleration patterns. All of these are textbook indicators of problem gambling behavior. Instead of receiving any intervention or expression of concern, This Michael received a promotional offer in his email for double comp points on his next 3 visits. A former casino executive testified in a regulatory hearing that there is an inherent conflict between responsible gaming objectives and revenue maximization, and in practice, revenue almost always wins. The technical documentation is damning. Internal reports that have surfaced through litigation show that players flagged as at risk generate 40 to 60% more revenue than casual recreational gamblers. These are the customers who are most profitable precisely because they're gambling with money they cannot afford to lose and displaying behavior patterns consistent with addiction. Industry insiders have admitted that casino management knows exactly who's gambling with rent money, social security checks, or borrowed funds. A particularly heartbreaking example involved an elderly woman whose player profile showed she was visiting every Tuesday immediately after the first of the month. Data analysts recognized the pattern as consistent with Social Security deposit timing. She was spending significant portions of her fixed income. Rather than any intervention, she continued receiving promotional offers specifically timed to those first-of-the-month visits. But former employees have described the guilt of watching these systems identify and exploit vulnerable people. One former surveillance operator stated he watched the algorithm identify a woman as high value despite obvious problem gambling indicators, and management's response was to ensure she received premium service to maximize her lifetime value to the casino. We've just exposed 10 tracking systems casinos use to monitor every player who walks through their doors. Players' club cards that log every spin and movement pattern, facial recognition networks that identify you across multiple properties, even without any identification. RFID chips, embedded in table game tokens, tracking your exact betting decisions. Smartphone applications, monitoring your location even when you're visiting competitors. Artificial intelligence algorithms analyze your betting patterns to identify emotional vulnerability. Biometric cameras measure your heart rate and stress levels while you gamble. Cross-casino databases sharing your complete gambling history across corporate networks and even between competing companies. Social media surveillance teams tracking your personal life circumstances. Real-time loss threshold monitoring that predicts the exact moment you're about to quit and triggers interventions to keep you playing. And most disturbingly, addiction indicator systems that identify problem gambling behavior and then use that data for targeted marketing instead of intervention. Every single spin you make, every single visit to any casino property, every single dollar you wager is being tracked, analyzed, and weaponized against you. This isn't paranoia or conspiracy theory. This is documented reality based on testimony from former casino employees, internal company documents that have surfaced through litigation, and technical specifications from the surveillance companies that build these systems. According to industry estimates, the average casino tracks over 200 distinct data points during a single player visit. These systems work together, creating a surveillance network more sophisticated than what most people would associate with intelligence agencies. The scope is staggering, and the implications are deeply troubling. Now you understand the extent of what casinos know about you. Every decision you make at a gambling property is being logged in databases that will follow you for years. The supposed anonymity of playing without a rewards card is completely illusory. Facial recognition identifies you the moment you enter. RFID chips track the money you're betting. Behavioral algorithms build psychological profiles based on your patterns. Even your biological stress responses are being measured and analyzed. Yet the competitive disadvantage facing every player is massive and fundamentally unfair. The casino has perfect information about your history, your preferences, your limits, and your vulnerabilities. You have almost no information about what they know or how they're using it against you. A former pit boss described this asymmetry perfectly in a deposition when he said the casino operates with complete transparency internally about player data while maintaining absolute opacity to the players themselves. Those complimentary offerings that feel like generous rewards are actually calculated returns of a tiny fraction of documented losses. Every promotional offer you receive is precisely targeted based on your psychological profile and gambling patterns. The casino is running controlled experiments on your behavior in real time, testing which interventions maximize the amount of money you'll lose before you finally walk away. If this information shocked you, make sure you subscribe to this channel because we have more insider revelations coming that casinos definitely don't want becoming public knowledge. Let me know in the comments whether you realized casinos were tracking you this extensively and whether you've personally noticed any of these surveillance tactics being used during your visits. Share this video with anyone you know who gambles because they deserve to understand the systems operating against them. The more people who understand how casino surveillance actually functions, the harder it becomes for these corporations to exploit information asymmetry for profit. What we've covered today represents just the beginning of how casinos use technology and data to maximize revenue extraction from every player. Wait until you see what we reveal next about how casino loyalty programs are specifically designed to create psychological dependence that has nothing to do with actual rewards.